All right, guys, here we go. We're going to start off standing and we're going to walk out into a plank position, drop to the knees, do a knee push-up, and then keep the legs straight on the way back up, just like an inchworm. So we're doing inchworm to a knee push-up, and then back, inchworm back up. And we're going to get about 4 or 5 of these. Keeping the core nice and tight. Feel a good stretch in the hamstrings. This is just opening up shoulders and hips and everything in between. Last one of these. And then we're going to flip onto your back and start with glute bridges. So lay on your back. We're going to pull your heels very close to the glutes and then lift those hips as high as you can, keeping the core tight. I like to drive the elbows and back of the arms into the floor. If you want, you can try a few single leg as well. You're going to do either 8 and then 5 each side on the single leg, or 12 total with 2 legs down. So next, you're going to need some weights and a stability ball or a yoga mat for these next few exercises. We're going to start doing some upper body. So you're going to have a seat on that stability ball, walk the feet out into a bridge position. So you want to make sure the hips stay up during these. And then we're going to bend the elbows out to a 45-degree angle with some quick chest presses. So these are pretty fast. We're going to do 15 of these. Then we're going to hold those weights together and do a crush press. So think about crushing those weights together and then push them straight from the chest up to the ceiling for 10 reps. And walk yourself back up. We're going to get rid of those weights, and you can have your feet against the wall for these if you feel unstable at all, or you could just do them on the floor as well, including the chest press. So now we're doing sit-ups. Make sure the hips stay very still so we're not rolling that ball underneath you at all. And we've got 10 sit-ups. Next, we are going to get those toes onto that ball. An option here would be just to plank on the floor and then try to drive the knees in one at a time. So you could just hold a floor plank as well. If you have the stability ball and you want to try this, please do. It's a great lower ab exercise. Next, we're going to plank on top of that ball. Again, if you want to just plank, you can just hold a plank. Otherwise, we're stirring the pot. 10 one direction, 10 the opposite direction. So notice nothing else in the body is moving, just from the shoulder, stirring that pot. And always come up from your knees and drop back down to your knees to transition in and out of that. Next, we're going to go to a lunge position. And from that lunge position, you're going to stand up, drive the knee up into a knee kick, and then into a single leg deadlift. So this is a combination movement. Just watch it for a couple and try to mirror it. Again, you can always just split these to just do a lunge and then do a few RDLs afterwards in case you don't want to combine the movements. And again, use something for balance if you need it. So we're getting knee movement and then hip movement. Again, drop that back knee, keep the chest lifted, core is tight the whole time. Feel that stretch in the hamstring on the deadlift portion. So we're going to switch sides. We're getting about 8 to 10 on each side. Again, hinge with a bent leg deadlift, and then back into that lunge with knee drive. So lunge, drive that knee up, kick the heel up, and then back to a lunge. These combination moves are great for when you have limited equipment, still want to get the heart rate up and burn some calories. Notice I'll try to keep my head neutral the whole time. Very important for the neck. All right, next, we're going to use that ball for our hamstring curls. So lie on the back, lift the hips, drive the back of those arms into the floor again. So we should just have the shoulder blades and hips off the floor in a straight line. If you want to try some single leg, again, I think I did 8 with 2 and then 5 with each leg. And you could just instead do 12 with 2 legs. Do what you feel. All right, next we're going to go to some crunches, exhaling up. So in this curl up or crunch, this is not a sit-up. So we're really trying a deep contraction in the abdominals. So we're pulling the rib cage down towards the hip bones and really squeezing everything in between there. This last one, hold up. So we're doing 8 to 10 and then hold. Bring the legs up to a 45-degree angle and then slowly lower them as long as you can maintain that core tightness and you don't feel your low back. And we're going to flutter kick for about 10 seconds. So I just want you to count to 10, constantly moving those legs, keeping the head, neck, and shoulders lifted. Very good. Next, we are going to need a pair of weights, and we have some upper and lower body stuff to do next. So next, we're going to start with one weight, and you can hold that at your chest, or again, you can use no weight. And we're going to do all one side with a lateral lunge. So lateral lunges, we're going to get 8 to 10 per leg. Again, do these at your own pace. Another option I'll show you at the end here is not stepping out. So if you have any knee or hip issues, do the version that I'll show you at the end here. And again, you could pause it, rewind it as you need. But we're going to do 8 to 10 per side, either stepping out, making sure that knee, hip, and toe are all lined up and your toes are always facing forward. So straight feet. And really keep that chest lifted. So now here I'll show you the version. It's alternating side to side. So this is another good option if you're not used to doing lateral lunges or you have any injuries. So again, you would do about 8 to 10 per leg there. Next, we're going to a sumo squat. So this is a knee dominant movement. We're going to drive the knees out to the sides in line with the toes. Keep the chest lifted. You can hold one weight, 2 weights, or none, and you can always have a chair behind you as well if you need. Next, we're going to go to a sumo deadlift. So I'll show you from the side here. So the legs are staying pretty straight. We're hinging more at the hip here to feel that hamstring stretch. So just like if somebody told you, see if you can touch your toes, but we want to keep your back nice and flat. So flat back, squeeze those glutes and hamstrings on the way up, and stand up tall in between each rep. So these again are mobility movements. So lighter weight, higher repetition, 10 to 15 on most things. Now this one we're going to get 10 reps each side in a renegade row. So we've got a wide feet plank to start. And we're going to row each one of those into the hip, trying not to rotate. So we're fighting that rotation in the core and hips. Or you can use no weights and do a hip tap that I'm showing you here. So we're just going to tap the hip, still squeeze the shoulder blade, keep the head neutral. Or another option is a plank reach. So one side at a time, still fighting that rotation. And again, try to get about 10 each side on whichever one you choose to do. So next and last, jump squats. We've got neutral feet here just outside shoulder distance. Hold weights or don't, but you've only got 10 reps to the finish. Very good. Let's get into our second and final round. It's the same thing. So you're an expert now. We're going to start on the inchworms. You will recall these should feel really good. Knees down, push up. And during your push-ups, again, make sure that the arms are going back at a 45-degree angle. So they're not touching your sides, but they're not straight out either. We want to make sure they're back just slightly. Again, 4 to 5 reps on these inchworms. These you can take your time a little bit more. Let's get this last one. And we're going to the back for the glute bridges. So again, heels close to the glutes, lift and squeeze for 12 reps, or a few with 2 feet, and at least 5 to 8 per side if you're doing single leg. Single leg are definitely harder than they look. Next, we're going to that stability ball, so grab a couple of your hand weights, and again, you can do these on the floor too, so if you're unstable or don't have a stability ball, use the floor. And so you would just lie on your floor and start these chest presses. We've got 15. Again, make sure the hips don't drop, so you're in that bridge position. 15 presses, and then we're going to the crush press for at least 10 reps. All right, next we're going to get rid of those weights and go to our crunch or sit up with the ball. So we're going to sit up almost all the way up, and again, use the wall on your feet if you need to for stability. Focus on the exhale on the way up and squeezing all those muscles in your core. I'm so glad I still have a means to work out with you guys. So next, we're going to the knee tucks. So the more of your shins you have on the ball, the little bit easier it'll be. The further out towards your toes, this will be harder. Again, opt for a plank or some lying reverse crunches on your back. So you just lift and lower the legs on your back as another option. So again, about 10 reps of that one. Then we're going 10 each direction on your stir the pot, or just hold your plank for about 20 seconds. Feet are wide on this one, don't forget that. All right, after 10 each direction there, we are going to grab that mat and use it as a cushion under your knee. Start in that lunge position, lift, drive the knee up, and then hinge back in the hip. So you're going to that airplane position, and you can use your arms if you'd like to reach those arms forward. That can help the balance a little bit too. Hold on to the wall if you need. We've got 8 to 10 per side on these. So a lunge and a deadlift, that counts as 1 rep. And let's switch sides. Want to make sure we get at least a 90-degree bend in each leg. It's okay for you to lose your balance in between these, or you can tap the toe down. You'll notice here I don't go down with the foot right after the deadlift, but you really could. You could tap the toe down there and then go back into the lunge. Again, 8 to 10 per leg. Then we're going to move on. Next, hamstring curls. Grab that ball, get it right underneath those heels, right in the center of the ball as we drive the hips up. Think about dragging that ball towards you with your heels. You can keep going with 2 legs or switch to a single leg for about 5 each side. If you have one leg that's significantly weaker, these are really a good idea. Next, going to crunches, curl ups. Big exhale. Squeeze those abs. Get as much of your shoulders and your upper back off the mat as you can each time. Hold this last one. We're going to lift the legs up, point the toes, and then lower just until you can start to feel your back start to go a little bit just above that spot. And then we're going to flutter kick. I like to squeeze the hands together on this one too, one on top of the other. That again will help those upper abs stay engaged. 10 seconds there. Stretch it out. Come on up. Next, you'll need your hand weights. Or again, cans of soup, bottles of water, whatever you've got. We're going first to a lateral lunge. And again, remember your option just to switch back and forth between sides without stepping in. Again, we've got about 10 reps per leg. Sinking down as low as you can. Switch sides. All right, this is again that option of no movement. In the feet. So next we're going to go to that sumo squat. Keep the chest lifted, bend the knees. So the knee bend is the most important thing here. Everything else in the spine we're trying to keep pretty still. Squeeze those glutes at the top, the inner thighs and the quads. 10 reps there. I like to use a little bit more weight on the deadlift. Really feel that stretch, especially being cooped up. We need to get this mobility work in, so really stretching as far as you can each time. Might get a little uncomfortable on that stretch, and that's okay. 10 repetitions of this one. And if this whole thing felt really good and you want to repeat it again, of course, just start the video over and you can get 3 to 4 rounds of all of these. So again, wide feet, row opposite sides, one at a time, trying to fight that rotation in the core. So about 10 each side, whichever way you choose to do these, the hip tap or the renegade row, or the plank reach. If you have any shoulder problems, you could just hold a plank as well, or lift alternating legs. All right, catch your breath. Last one, jump squats. Push through here. These last 10 should get that heart rate up. You got it. Last one. Beautiful. Great job, guys. Please come back tomorrow for another workout. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you soon.